In a forgotten era, within the grandeur of Bellefleur, there was a princess who answered to the name of Sarah. She was a bright little thing, loved and adored by everyone in the palace. But the most special thing about her was she loved to cook. "Those looks amazing." They taste amazing too. Chef tasted pastries made by her. "Yes, I know," Sarah replied happily. In fact, Saya would daydream about food all day. "Are these edible?" She took a bush eye, asked herself. And she'd be thinking up recipes too. In the school when she submitted her homework, the teacher said, "Princess, you're supposed to submit homework on the life cycle of bees, but this is the recipe for a ginger and lemon cake." "Heh, oops," Princess replied. And one would probably find her only in the kitchen. One night, King was looking for Sarah. "Where is Sarah?" The kitchens." He thought. And he found Sarah in kitchen busy with a recipe. "Sarah, are you baking cookies?" King asked. "These aren't cookies, Father," she replied. "These are coconut macaroons. The crispiness of the gently flaked coconut combined with the rich sweetness of milk and a hint of vanilla's lovely essence. It's perfect." "It's 12 a.m., Sarah. Who are these for?" King asked surprisingly. Santa," she replied cheerfully. Sarah would experiment with every spice and ingredient she could lay her hands on, aiming for perfection. Everyone marveled at her dishes, and over time, she grew into a marvelous cook. Delicious. Maybe I should retire," said Chef to the princess. "Never. You're my first and forever teacher." Sarah reviled her chef teacher. One evening, however, she decided to visit her favorite soup stall. "Madam Potts," Sarah called soup stall lady. "Your Highness," she replied. "Are you closing down?" Sarah asked. "Yes, I don't have the money to run the shop anymore. The ingredients are far costly," Madam Potts replied. "Oh, Sarah feels sorry for her," Madam Potts added on. "But I suppose I can make an last bowl for my favorite customers." As Madam Potts began to prepare the soup, Sarah watched her, enthralled. The smell of ginger and the herbs are so fresh, even the way she carefully chews the vegetables with so much love. Soup was soon ready to serve. Madam Potts served the soup to Princess. "Here you go," said Madam Potts. Princess tasted the soup, and she was amazed. I can feel the warmth of the soup spreading through me. It's a shame you're closing down," Sarah said to Madam Potts. "It's not just me, love. Mr. Buns the baker, Miss Berry Blossom the tea shop owner, and even Chef Rigatoni, they're all shutting down." Madam Potts told Sarah. Sarah was horrified. That night, while in the kitchens, Het mind was Jane a-twirl. "With your skill, maybe you should forget the crown and start a restaurant," said the chef to Sarah. "That's it! That's what I will do," Sarah replied excitedly. "What? You can't forfeit the crown," Chef said. "Oh, I'm keeping my crown all right, but I'll also start a restaurant," she replied. The next day, she got to work. She was around hiring all the owners who were closing down their shops and stalls. She said to them, "You'll be able to work without worrying much. Just focus on cooking, and I'll handle the rest." In no time, her new restaurant was up and running, and people flocked to it. This is so good. I've missed your soups, Madam Potts," said one customer. Other customer said, "You should try Miss Berry Blossom's tea. It leaves you feeling so relaxed." "They're enjoying our food." Chefs was happy. The restaurant fame grew and spread throughout the lands. One day, a seemingly unruly group entered. One of them picked a glass of water, the serving tray that Madam Potts carrying for a customer. "Oh, excuse me," she said surprisingly. "Oh dear, I'm so sorry about them." Other boy from the group apologized. No, don't worry. Our Madi us to serve every customer. Who's handsome? Hungry," Madam Potts replied. "Wonderful. Then I'll take the chestnut soup," he ordered. Within moments, their food was served. They ate it with relish. The nuttiness, this earthy flavor, it's so well crafted. Madam Potts does make the best soup. They were praising Madam Potts while eating. But that's made by the princess herself," Madam Potts told them. They were amazed. "The chef is a princess." "Why, of course. The head chef of this fine establishment is our very own Bellefleur's Royal Highness, Sarah," Mr. Buns told them. "Oh? Then I'd like to compliment her personally," the handsome boy said. He was shown into the kitchens where Sarah was rushing about. "Are you Princess Sarah?" he asked. Why, yes. What may I do for you?" she replied. "You may keep very silent. If you scream, my men will destroy your village, your restaurant, and everything you hold dear," he said. "Who are you?" Sarah asked him. "Ever heard of the Firedow Bandits?" he said. "They are the most treacherous bandit group there is," Sarah replied. "And I am their leader, Cobb," he told Sarah. "Cobb? Like corn on the cob? Ha ha! Is that your real name?" "Grr, silence," he said angrily. He went on to demand a sum in exchange for the safety of the kingdom and its princess. Princess didn't like this. "Look, I get it. Kingdom's princess ought know. Losing your restaurant is a huge deal to a chef. Trust me, I was one," said Cobb. "You were a chef?" she asked. "Not to brag, but a pretty good one. So what will you do, princess?" he replied. Sarah's mind was worked fast. She didn't plan on putting everyone in danger. "Fine, I'll concede to your terms if you defeat me in cooking battle," Sarah said. Cooking battle?" he asked. "Yep. If I win, you leave my kingdom alone, forever," Sarah told her. "I don't have to listen to you. There's no honor among thieves," he replied. "What about a chef's honor? If you are good, a cooking battle should be easy peasy, unless you're lying and you're the type who burns an omelet, said Sarah. Fine, one cooking battle and that's it. But if I win, I take your restaurant, the village, and all the gold I desire. The deal was done between princess and thief. Now, neither the king nor the people were altered about this deal. Sarah didn't want to scare anyone. She practiced hard at her skills for days. One day, Sarah asked herself, "Why aren't I getting this right? I need to win. Maybe I need a break." She went out for a walk that evening and chanced upon Cobb, relaxing by the stream with 2 basketful of ingredients. As Cobb saw Princess, he asked her, "Hey, Princess, here to admit defeat?" She replied, "As if. Are those your ingredients?" She asked. "Yup, but they're for my beautiful eyes only." He replied, "It's your hands that I'll need to do the cooking," Sarah said. "Oh, they'll cook and win," he replied. "Please, when you lose, I'll make a pot of chestnut soup to go. Madame Potts told me how much you loved it," Sarah said. "Your soup taste is very similar to my dear mother's. She loved cooking and as the reason I followed the path of a cook." He added, "I was a renowned chef known throughout the lands. But one day, a vengeful critic decided to ruin my name and reputation." Oh no. Sarah felt sorry for him. He continued, "My real name isn't Cobb, it's Cresswater." Princess was surprised to hear his name. "Chef Cresswater! I've heard about you. Your recipes are top-notch." "No one would work with me after that," he told Princess. "Oh, well, things got a little heated down the line, so I turned towards a different side of life." "Stealing from people, threatening them?" she asked. "Exactly. And now if you'll excuse me, I have a battle to win." He walked away saying this. Sarah hadn't expected Cobb to have such a side to him. As she walked to her castle, she saw Cobb helping a young boy. How strange people are. She thought, I, too, have a kingdom to save. The day of the battle arrived. I've trained under the chef, worldwide. Good luck beating me," said Cobb to Sarah. "We'll see about that," Sarah replied. The battle commenced as Sarah cooked. Cobb glanced over. "What kind of ordinary dish does she plan on making, haha?" he thought. But Sarah was passionately cooking for her kingdom. Onions, tomatoes, in go the beans. Lovely. Finally, the time was up. To keep things fair, the judges didn't know whose dish belonged to which chef. The first dish consisted of spicy fettuccine noodles simmered in the sweetness of coconut milk. The judges took their first bites. Delicious, they praised. The next dish was polenta and beans in a rich, creamy tomato sauce. "This is so amazing." "Wow!" All the chefs praising the taste of the dish. Once they'd eaten their fill, it was finally time for the results. Sarah's heart pounded. Would her dish be good enough to save her entire kingdom? She was thinking. Finally, one of the chefs started. Both dishes were amazing. However, we've all agreed that the dish made of polenta and beans is the one. Won our hearts. That dish was made by Sarah. Listening to the result, Cobb was shocked. What? No! Yes, Sarah's heart leaped with joy. She bounded through the crowd in happiness. Her dish had won the battle. Cobb, however, was furious. He bellowed at the princess. How was this possible? I saw you using nothing but plain beans and polenta. Polenta is just a cornmeal. You must have cheated. Cheated? Sarah, shocked to listen that. Cobb added, my dish consisted of high-quality ingredients and has earned me great recognition in other lands. Why don't you taste my dish before assuming that I cheated? Sarah replied. And so Cobb took the ladle to his lips. How stunned he was. The ingredients that he had so rudely scorned now formed a medley of flavors in his mouth. This texture. It's perfect, silky, and rich. And this taste. He was impressed by Princess cooking. He went to Princesa and asked her, how did you attain such finesse? With what intention did you make your dish? Sarah asked of Cobb. Obviously with the intention to win, Cobb replied. I practiced my dish with that thought too, but was never happy with the result. I realized my aim as a chef is to nourish my people with the best food possible. Food which will leave them happy and healthy, Sarah told Cobb. Cobb said, in other words, you cook with love. I've forgotten what that's like. Well, a deal's a deal, princess. I shall take my men and leave your kingdom alone. You've earned this. Wait, what if I help you start your own restaurant too here? She offered to Cobb. Cobb was surprised to listen this. You would do that? Mm-hmm. You can be a chef again, Sarah replied. Cobb was beyond touched. With tears in eyes, he agreed to the kind offer. And so, the kingdom was saved from the terrible Firdow bandits. Cobb, I mean. Chef Cresswater soon opened up a new restaurant in another part of the kingdom. Here you go. Cresswater's man served the meal to the customer. Sarah told him, customers must feel welcomed. Let's try again with a smile. Here you go, he said again with a smile. Yes, better. Sarah appreciated him. They would occasionally help each other out. Need a hand to help your beautiful eyes? Sarah asked busy Chef Cresswater. Ha ha, they are a bit busy, Chef replied cheerfully. Looking at what? Sarah asked. You, Chef replied. And so, Sarah's name spread far and wide, and Chef Cresswater's reputation began to grow again, too. It's just show that with determination, bravery, and a little bit of culinary magic, anything is possible,